Yes, I'm about to go to bed. I was doing a few videos today talking about awareness with eating habits, which is something I've really kind of tuned into over the past few years. And so I wanted to segue into talking about mindfulness and maybe a bit of meditation. Hopefully that doesn't scare you off. Stick around. Meditation, right? I thought meditation was pretty lame as a kid because the people who told us about it were freaks. Hippy-dippy people who would come into our school and talk to us about meditation. I was just like, whatever, dude. It's breathing. I know how to breathe. But during the COVID pandemic, I really got into meditation. I found a really good app that resonated with me, and it's called FitMind. I'm not affiliated with them. I'm not sponsored by them, but I would love to be because I think that app genuinely changed my life. My hair is doing something very weird. I think it's mostly gravity. Anyways. Now, if you're a sensible person, your cult alarm bells must be going off by now, but I want to rest assured those worries. It's not a cult. I think it's a very awesome app that really streamlines the whole idea of meditation and makes it very easy to access for most people. So for me, I dabbled in meditation before the COVID pandemic and the lockdowns, but I, had maybe one or two sessions where I felt a noticeable difference, but most of the time I just didn't get it. What I didn't realize at the time was it was like anything you practice in life, and I just wasn't giving it the time it needed to actually do the work. So I'm going to try and sell you on why you should at least give meditation a go. And look, I'm definitely not a perfect practicer of it. I haven't meditated for a long time. But what I have done is carry a lot of the mindfulness habits I learned from meditation into my day-to-day life. So what are the benefits I got from meditation? Number one, I became more aware of how my thoughts work and how my brain works. And because of that awareness, I was able to break bad habits and patterns quicker. Most obvious example of that, I often turn to food for comfort, and I was able to acknowledge, hey, I'm stressed about work. Maybe I don't need to eat a Big Mac, right? Number two, my emotional regulation was infinitely better. A girlfriend I had at the time commented, I think about 2 or 3 weeks into the meditation, that I was a different person. So much easier to talk to, so much easier to be with. Obviously not easy enough because we did break up, but I think it was relatively mutual. But having said that, even in other relationships with friends and family and co-workers, when I've been able to practice consistently, there has been a marked improvement in how I handle difficult conversations, stressful situations. Again, the third and final point is enjoyment and joy in life. You become attuned to a different type of joy that is ultimately more fulfilling than the short and quick dopamine-based joy and pleasure we're sold in the world today. So for me, it was really most present in just being aware of the wind. I know, weird, but I grew up in a very hot part of Australia and I hate the heat. I'm built for the cold, but I grew up in the desert. And for me, I became incredibly aware about how much relief and relaxation and joy I got when there was a cold breeze. And, it would instantly turn a 5 out of 10 day to a 10 out of 10 day. Things like that. Things like, being aware that sometimes perceived negative sensations, like jumping into the cold ocean or feeling the strain of a workout, immediately we think of them as bad, but they're just sensations, and you can ascribe the meaning you want to those sensations. You can learn to enjoy the refreshing jolt of a cold shower. You can learn to enjoy the slow burn of, going for that final rep in a deadlift. So that was a very long, convoluted answer, basically saying I think you'll be happier doing it. So those are my 3 reasons why you should do it. How would I recommend you do it? Get the FitMind app, try that, or get any app really. I mean, I think why I like the FitMind app is they've really taken a lot of the concepts and tried to structure it in a way that would make sense from a fitness perspective. The last bit I'll give you for this is I mentioned that I'm not what I would consider a good student of meditation. However, a big benefit is the micro practices that I've taken away from it. So what are they? Anxiety has been something I dealt with a little bit, and I've been able to maintain that level of awareness to catch myself out when I am spiraling and overthinking things. And then through breathing practices, which is basically a fancy way of just saying controlling your breath, I'm able to lower my heart rate and stop that spiral from getting worse and worse. So that's the first thing that's been really good. The second thing, actually, I think that's it really. Yeah, that's it, because anything else I say to you is basically just that idea. It's that idea of catching your brain or your mind out before you fall into the pattern and the sequence, changing your physiology by changing your breath and changing your heart rate, and then entering a more aware state of mind where you can choose how you're going to react to it. Yeah, so that might not sound like a lot, but that can resonate and benefit so many other areas of your life. You know, again, fitness related, stopping a binge in the episode before it happens. It's helped me out on the treadmill, actually. I did an hour on the treadmill the other night at an incline. I think it was about 650 calories I burnt. There were multiple times where I caught myself going through negative thought patterns, and I was able to just catch myself, change my breathing, and just reassess it. Okay, is this really happening, or is it just a thought? And it was just a thought. I've been able to do the same thing when I've had to go into situations I'm not particularly comfortable in. Maybe even, recording these videos on the fly without a script. So, yeah. Meditation. Give it a go. I think it will only benefit you, and I think it's worth looking into.